Alrighty, guys. I have to start this out as usual saying I apologize for any noises you guys may hear that are not me. There's children in the complex, and I'm gonna be completely honest, I'm not trying to wait till 10, 11 o'clock at night to do my recordings because my neighbors are loud. So, bless. If you don't like it, invest in me so I can buy a house. Okay, moving forward, that's not even what this video is about. But I wanted to talk a few minutes about meditation. Because something that I hear very commonly is people saying, well, I don't know how to meditate, or I try, and then blah, blah, blah. And it's like, so everybody thinks that meditation is about quieting your mind. And yeah, in a lot of ways, it is about quieting your mind. But then you have certain signs, like Geminis, for example, them sitting there and meditating and just like quieting my mind isn't going to work for them. The best way for them to actually meditate is with music and like something that'll actually take their attention away from their brain, because their brains are always going on overdrive anyways. So that really helps, like Geminis, for example. But everybody like says, oh, well, I can't meditate, or I don't know how, or like all these things. But really, in all actuality, when it comes down to meditating, like, it's about actually allowing those thoughts to like pop in. First, what I feel like everybody really needs to do is work on your breathing. I use like the square breathing technique, and once you kind of learn it, then it's just like down. But it's like you breathe in for 4, you hold for 4, you breathe out for 4, and then you kind of start the process again over and over and over again. Really taking, bless, really taking and just breathing. It's about the in and out. And once you get, one of the most important parts about like this breathing and like this technique you can use like when you're upset and things of that nature, just regrounding yourself and really just allowing yourself, because honestly a good breathing technique will help you through a lot of things. But as far as meditation and like your thoughts are concerned, understand that like when your mind is still, that's when everything's gonna come to it. Like, oh, did I take the chicken out for dinner? Okay, I took the chicken out. Now let's get back to focusing on our breath. And that's really where I find myself personally. I find it easier because my brain's always going, like, always. So being able to really quiet it and just being able to, like, okay, well, right now I'm just focusing on the rise and the fall of my breath and just allowing it, and understand, I've had a couple of people be like, oh, well, I meditate and I pass out. Well, sometimes, I'm not saying all the time, but there are some times when you aren't necessarily passing out, but you're actually like going into like a trance like state, and that's really good, especially if you're working on like opening up your third eye and things of that nature, to really allow yourself to get into that trance state, because that's where your third eye is really going to open and you're going to be able to truly see things. And like another thing is not to force things when you see them, don't try and like make sense of it. Just be like, oh, that's cool, and allow it to have like a childlike mind when it comes down to it. But really, when it comes down to meditation, it's about your breathing. It's about making sure you're breathing deep. I always, when I try and focus on my chakras. And there's this really good meditation that I used to do. And it basically, I don't know how to explain it, but it kind of teaches you how to breathe into your chakras. And just knowing like where they are, and you can really feel them activate when you do the meditation, and really getting a sense of grounding yourself and getting a sense of really like, breathing into these areas. Because when you meditate, the reason why breath is so important is because you're breathing in prana, life energy, but that's also your own energy. If you take and you focus on the energy around you, that's what you're breathing in. And you're literally recharging it as you do it. And what you do is like basically with that type of meditation is, once you get to your crown, that's when you're kind of starting to push your energy back out that you've already absorbed. You're kind of pushing it back out, which is something, if you like watch my grounding video, which I have to redo because I just kind of like threw it together. But anyways, if you watch my grounding video, I kind of tell you how to ground. I give an idea, and my thing is literally, I don't want anybody to just take everything it is that I have to say, like, go and do your own research. But I'm telling you the things that have worked for me. And I went from someone who, when I was first told to meditate or square breathing, when I was first told to do this, I was like, oh, okay, for like 30 seconds. My therapist, actually, she was like, no, 3 minutes. And I was like, oh, so a minute? And she was like, 3 minutes. And I'm like, she's like, that's the only way it's going to be effective. And you'll notice, like, okay, so the first time you do it, you might only get through like 30 seconds. And then the next time it'll be 45. And like, you'll notice within yourself, like, this time totally going up. And don't be upset when it doesn't, when you're not seeing like huge processes. Like, just really focus on your breath and the rest will come to you. I watched something recently that kind of strayed against guided meditations. I don't really use guided meditations. I do guided meditations. That, if that's like anything that someone's interested in, but I do guided meditations, but I basically don't like use them, if that makes sense. I like, if I have a client who needs that like type of energy, then I'm willing to give it to them. And if not, sorry, that's dinner. But anyways, so that's basically what everything is. And I'm trying to think if there's anything else, but basically, and get yourself, what I always like to do is I always like to get myself a crystal, and the only one I have near me right now is a selenite. But I basically get myself a crystal, and I like know what energy is your crystals. Like, if you're trying to protect yourself, if you're trying to remove something, if like what it is, whatever it is that you're doing, just kind of know the energies of your crystals. That's really important, and as you do like other things, you'll understand. But you can also like lay your crystals out, like if you have a grid, or however, and that'll definitely help you to be able to honestly focus in on those energies and vibrate at their frequency, because you're like really in a good brain wave time. I don't, that was but you're really in like a good state of mind when you're meditating, once you really get into it. So having crystals around you can really help you get into the frequency, because one thing that people don't really talk about, because everybody's like, oh, just go get yourself a crystal, but no one's ever like, hey, so in all actuality, if you're not vibrating at the frequency of your crystal, then your crystal is just this really pretty rock that you bring with you. And honestly, sometimes, and this is what some people don't get, is that sometimes because something's vibrating so high and you're vibrating so low, it can have an adverse effect. So make sure you know what it is that you're using and how it should be used. Alrighty guys, if you have any questions, definitely let me know. But I just wanted to like get this out there and just know that it's more about the breath. It's more about and even then that's a little quick, but it's if you get the air out, then the air has to come back in. Like, especially if you like suffer from a lot of anxiety. If you get the air out, then it has to come back in. Alrighty guys, let me know how this goes, how this helped. If it helped, let me know. Alrighty guys, have a great day. Bye.